welcome to another edition of Cleanpin, and I am your buddy, your pal, your amigo, your compadre, talking about some wrestling news and rumors, covering AEW, NWA, ROH, yada 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 yada, and so on and so forth. Everything that you could think of. Cleanpin. WrestleMania weekend is upon us. WrestleMania being played out. It was already played out. Not live, taped. Saturday and Sunday. 2-day event. Don't know how you guys feel about that. I will kind of get into that in my predictions episode. But I do want to talk about, just news from this week that we had as far as wrestling goes. I think the main thing to talk about, and this is, if you watched SmackDown, you know that it was kind of anticlimatically just kind of slipped in there, and not even much of any meant. Like if you didn't even pay close attention to it, you would have missed it. And that is that Roman Reigns is out. He's out of the main event at WrestleMania, and he has been replaced by Braun Strowman. Now, if you've been following social media, and that's Braun Strowman going up against Goldberg. If you've been following social media, it was kind of already spoiled to you, I guess. When Roman Reigns said, that he pretty much said, "Oh, you probably heard already the dirt sheets by now. I am not going to be. I'm out of the WrestleMania card." And he said, that it could be for various amount of reasons. Basically, in that video that he put out there, he's saying that a lot of people are assuming stuff which is not necessarily the case. It's better not. Don't assume there. He could have young children or older adults in the household, and no one could assume. He also kind of did say that he did make the town. It seemed like he was there apparently in Orlando, and then maybe just pulled out in the last minute. Seemingly, that's what it seems like based on the wording of that video, at least to me anyway. And again, if you watched SmackDown last night, it was kind of like they mentioned Braun Strowman now facing Goldberg, kind of like it was almost in a transition. It was like an announcement that was a transition in between segments, just to kind of ho-hum, do it very quickly, kind of sweep it under the rug, and move on to the next thing. I don't know, and I don't like the way that announcement was made. Honestly, I don't. They could have, being that this was taped, they could have gone back and just kind of inserted something. kind of better explain exactly why Roman Reigns is not going to be at WrestleMania. Now, this is a TV show. It's production. Suspension of disbelief. As far as WWE being required to make this announcement earlier, in essence, they don't have to. It's a TV show, right? In a TV show, sometimes things are make-believe and they don't correlate or, with everyday life. So they could have made it into an angle where he's, not pulling out because of, the coronavirus and social distancing. He could have pulled out because he was maybe attacked by Braun Strowman or attacked by a masked man. Something to make the transition, make the correlation, make it interesting, make it known exactly why Braun Strowman is in there and Roman Reigns is out. Give me something. Give me something instead of giving me nothing at all. Just ho-hum. I mean, it's almost like, if you're going to do it that way, right? If you're not going to say anything at all, just say, listen, he's not competing because of the coronavirus. If you don't want to make it into an angle or do something creative. I mean, you had all this time. You could have inserted something. You could have done something. Now, you really didn't do anything to make it compelling. You could have done something to build up or right away, or even if you didn't want to involve Roman, you could have gotten Braun Strowman after the match was already taped. Pretend it wasn't. Pretend that they didn't have a match just now. And, after the match, they cut a promo to kind of set up why Braun Strowman thinks he could beat Goldberg, or why Goldberg thinks he could beat Braun Strowman. Insert something in there to make us care. To make us care about this new main event, Strowman versus Goldberg. Give us something instead of leaving us with nothing. Could have done something. Being that, there were tapings, and it's just really disappointing that not much was done with this. I'm looking at, comments, that were arrived in social media, that were put out there on social media by various fans that state that, getting on the case of Roman Reigns for all of a sudden, backing out at the last minute when, they were saying that the main event was already in place for a couple of months. Even he had the chance to back out a couple of weeks before then. Now, why is he backing out last minute? A lot of people were saying that it's unprofessional. Guys, this is, you can't fault him. If he's not comfortable with a situation that was in place there when he came for the tapings, if he feels that he's putting himself in danger, not only himself, but also family members at home, the responsible thing to do is not show up and pull out, which is what he did. He was being responsible. Can't fault him for being responsible. So we'll see how that unfolds on WrestleMania. Chris Jericho, now that he's with AEW, also talked about, his status, his standing with WWE. And, he feels that, he talked in particular about the Hall of Fame, right, in the WWE Hall of Fame. And he said, since he's not with the company right now, so let's say if he's, with AEW, 10, for however long he is with AEW, if he could be with AEW, a producer after his wrestling career until he's 90 years old, 100 years old, if he's still with AEW at 100 years old, for example, as long as his name is associated with AEW, Jericho does not think that he would make the WWE Hall of Fame. He says he's fine with that. He referred to the musical group, the Sex Pistols, who are, one of Rock's greatest bands as well, and they're not in the Hall of Fame. So, he says that he's cool with that, and he has no problem with that. You have to remember, it's Vince McMahon's creation, right? The WWE Hall of Fame. That's his creation. So, he says it's the WWE, it's the WWE universe, that WWE universe, tell us what you want. Well, the WWE universe could tell you that they want Chris Jericho in the WWE Hall of Fame. Still, at the end of the day, it's Vince McMahon's WWE Hall of Fame. So, really what Vince McMahon wants, well, that's what Vince McMahon gets, ladies and gentlemen. So it is ultimately his choice. Do I think, does Vince McMahon, do I think, let's say, Vince McMahon watches a product like AEW, Impact, ROH? No, I don't think he watches them, and I don't think that he is honestly threatened by them at all. I think, he believes, and he is, how can you argue with him right now, anyway? He believes that he is, the WWE, is the end-all, be-all as far as wrestling. And right now, no one has taken over WWE. So, I think he looks at it in the sense of, not that he's threatened that this wrestler is, with another organization. I just think he thinks, well, he doesn't want to associate with us. Well, forget him then. I don't want to associate with him either. It's like that alpha male type of logic mindset, where out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to do business with me? Why not? I'm Vince McMahon. So I think that's what plays into it. And then there are also, other instances where they're just, where WWE is a publicly traded company, and they have investors and people that they have to answer to, and certain names have certain stigma attached to it, which Vince McMahon probably does not want to be, answering questions about. I probably want to keep those questions, those memories, those controversies tucked away. He doesn't want to bring them out, and that's why you won't see other wrestlers, in that Hall of Fame. It's Vince McMahon's WWE Hall of Fame. Personally, I think, what is the more prestigious, the Alley Club. That's Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Remember, guys, that before Vince McMahon, there was territories, there was other wrestling. And if Jericho is not bothered by it, then, why should we be bothered by it? If that moment were to ever arise with Jericho in the Hall of Fame, which we know that it very much will. John, speaking of WrestleMania again, John Cena, there was, I don't know if you guys caught it on social media, John Cena had cut a promo, kind of like a WWE exclusive promo on his matchup against Bray Wyatt. So, kind of a very calm, collected promo, but it was backstage. It went on for about 3 minutes. And in the context of that promo, he referred, he was saying that he's not scared of The Fiend. The Fiend is Bray Wyatt, who is actually, if you remember, Husky Harris. He even took a jab of that. He even had that on his Instagram, if you caught that, a couple of days ago, too. So, he mentions Husky Harris in this promo. So, WWE, what they did is they put it up on social media, quickly took it down off social media, deleted it, and replaced it with, another kind of promo, which was now, about a minute and change. No mention of Husky Harris this time. No. Just, him saying something that he has a stern warning for The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. So that's, that was, that's the promo that replaced it. And do I blame the WWE for doing that? Getting down that promo? Absolutely not. I don't blame him. We know, unfortunately, how the last incarnation of Bray Wyatt, how that character kind of went from this immovable force, this immovable presence, to almost like over by night, kind of like beatable scrub type of thing, that aura of last we seen Bray Wyatt just disappeared. When you have a promo like that, okay, where John Cena mentions Husky Harris, all the kids are going to be Googling Husky Harris, and they're going to see Husky Harris. Not that there was anything wrong with Husky Harris, but if you have a picture of Husky Harris, that does not exactly look frightening. He looks like an everyday schmo, an everyday guy, Husky Harris. People are not going to take a guy like Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, seriously if they're reminded, that this is in actuality Husky Harris. You want the illusion, you want people to be thinking of the Fiend with the mask, the big bushy beard. You want people to be scared. Suspension of disbelief. Don't remind me of Husky Harris after they have tried everything. And they tried for the longest to rid your memory of Husky Harris and building up the character Bray Wyatt. So, they want Husky Harris out of sight, out of mind. And even if you left it out there, for argument's sake, you would have to be confident that your talent John Cena, is that your talent that's facing John Cena is able to, quite honestly, combat that type of a promo. He has to be just as good, or equal mic skills to kind of combat that. Because if you're not able to combat that, then it's going to be hard to recover from a character standpoint. Well, whether you guys want to, whether we want to agree or disagree, John Cena is still one of the better promos in the industry. There's no one like a guy like John Cena who could cut a promo. Probably one of the best promos around right now. John Cena was also on Corey the Graves After the Bell podcast, and he was mentioning how, he really does not see any star that stick out. You have to be a personality. And it's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting statement in the sense of, you hear this from John Cena. He's saying that he doesn't see the next star, and he might be very well right, because there is really no larger than life characters right now. There is none. Honestly, a lot of characters in the WWE just seem to be vanilla, plain, just like everyone else. No one is different. But then you hear stories about, all these wrestlers that go on, Jericho's podcast, former WWE guys that go on there, and they always say that they have given, that they always run backstage. They always were trying to speak with Vince, pitch ideas, and it would just fall on deaf ears, and nothing ever came of it. So, it's a very interesting to me. A statement like that, I really do not know what to believe, honestly. Who's telling the truth? Is it just bitter grapes? How is John Cena able to do all this? How did John Cena gain Vince McMahon's trust? What are these guys lacking? What are they missing? What can they do? Is it their look? Is it the presentation? John Cena was like, you got to go to Vince McMahon. You got to earn his trust. You got to earn his respect. Well, based on, a guy like Luke Harper, he was saying that he's been doing that. He was trying to do that. To no avail. So what do you do? Is the ultimate question. Who's telling the truth? Who's not? How do you correct it? And what do you do? That's the big question, ain't it? What are these guys missing? AEW announced that they're coming out with a secondary title, which is actually phenomenal. I believe it's called the TNT title, which is great. It's great for AEW. I always thought that they needed a secondary title. It will definitely help them expand, the character, the storylines of some of these wrestlers. As that maniac is driving like 70 and a 40. A guy like Darby Allin. Could use the secondary title right now. Perfect. Sammy Guevara would do great with a title like that, the TV title. Because you cannot have, you cannot have all these guys just competing for one title. You kind of need to keep everyone busy, kind of keep the storylines, kind of develop storylines. So it's great to have a secondary title. You don't want it to go too crazy. I think this is where I would kind of I would stop it as far as the titles go. You have 2 titles, which is fine. I don't think you need another title. Because your roster is limited. Your roster is not huge. Your roster is not big. So I mean, it would be great to kind of keep it as is. Keep it as is, and and it's good. It will get the talent something to work with, something to work on. Also, looking at some of the news here that has developed, Edge, is talking about, he's trying to make this, right now at the age of 46. His best WrestleMania yet. His best WrestleMania to date at the age of 46. If you look at it, a lot of people are actually considering, this match between Randy Orton and Edge to be, in all actuality, the main event. I think honestly that Edge's statement, even at 46, right? He makes this statement at 46, and you're like, well, Edge, you're not exactly a spring chicken anymore. You're 46. How are you going to make this happen? I don't think his statement is too far off. I think he is very capable of producing, a main event. A main event best matchup of his career. The reason why is, if you think about it, just think about it, right? This guy has been sitting home at home for years. What is it, 9 years? And he was probably, as much as he would say otherwise, as much as he probably says otherwise, I'm sure part of him always thinks that he never had the opportunity to leave on his own terms. Probably envisioned, played over and over again, coming back, and how would it would unfold. See, you hear this from